Thank you. You guys into Netflix? People like that, right? Netflix? Did you hear that they spent $100 million to keep Friends on for another year? I think it's entirely my fault. I realize that I have trouble sleeping, and what works for me personally is every night before I go to bed, I put Friends on, and I just let it play over and over and over until whenever it stops. Because I realized I can't fall asleep without white noise. Gotta do what works for you, you know? Someone recently called me a functional alcoholic. I said, thank you. It's a weird compliment to put in front of an insult, honestly. Like I can clean my entire house in a blackout and pay my bills on time. If I'm any kind of alcoholic, it's not a functional one. It's an exceptional one. Doctors don't like that excuse, though. They still ask you personal questions. Like last time I went to my doctor, she said, Rachel, can you tell me exactly how many alcoholic beverages you have in a week? And I was like, can you tell me exactly who I got HPV from? If we're playing that game, your guess is as good as mine. She wanted me to get tested for ADHD also, and when she said that, I was like, I don't think I need that. And she said, actually, ADHD is very underdiagnosed in adult women. And I was like, well, anything for gender equality. Sure. And when I called the psychologist, she said, what do you need? And I said, my doctor wants you to test me for ADHD. And she said, do you think that you have ADHD? And I said, is this the test? Is this how easy it's been to get Adderall this whole time? And I did. I took all the tests. I 100% have it. And I'll tell you this, it's weird to find out you actually need a drug you used to abuse recreationally. I used to borrow Adderall from my friends so I could focus on drinking longer. It's how you wake up in a warehouse, a bottle of wine and 240s later next to a guy on house arrest who is your 99% match on OkCupid. Now I have to see my doctor every few months so she can decide whether or not I still need Adderall. So I always make sure I'm a little bit late to that appointment. One thing that came out of the whole ordeal, the reason it went so long undiagnosed into adulthood is I'm Italian. If you know anything, one person gets it. We don't like to address mental illness, not our thing. When I was a teenager, I was very angsty. I would dye my hair, put on black lipstick. My grandfather would say, why are you doing that? And I would say, I'm sad. And he would say, did you shit? Pop-Pop wasn't totally wrong for that. Look, he had a good point. I still ended up a feminist because I grew up in a feminist household, which is just a white woman way of saying your dad left. Yeah. Hardest part about feminism for me is buying all these drinks for myself. Am I right? Hint. When I started dating outside my race, and when you do that, people always think it's like a thing or a fetish, and I tried to tell them it's not like that for me. My mom was very liberal. No one told me no. That's what makes it a thing. Like my mom would say things growing up like, Rachel, I don't care if you date a guy who's black, white, brown, or purple. I don't care if you date another woman. She said, I would only care if you dated someone who treated you like shit. So guess what my thing is? It's just real easy to find, you know? People always ask if you write your own jokes when you do stand-up, and I will say I write 95% of my jokes, but lately I have been getting help from my therapist. And it's not what you think, like she doesn't write jokes for me. I started doing a thing where I write a joke about anything I say that makes her write something down. She takes a note, I take a note. She recently told me I'm an over-accommodator, which means I let passive aggression just build up inside me. And she said, I think we need to devote the whole next session to talking about it. And I was like, sure, whatever's best for you. I'll leave you guys with this. Whenever I talk about the ADHD, people always talk about how it affected me academically. And I will say it's actually worse how it affects your romantic life. No one ever talks about that. For instance, I can't keep up with dirty talk. Total nerd about it. One time a guy said my name during sex. He was like, oh, Rachel. And I was like, what? I don't know, thanks guys, that's my time.